Hey there folks, this is David on David's Brain. Welcome back to our ongoing Let's Play Persona 3 Portable for the PS4 on PS5. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, ring the bell, contributed by Patreon, links description to the bottom. Stay inside, stay safe, wear a mask, get vaccinated. Alright, last time, yeah, I managed to pull through. I managed to beat Margaret. And yeah, it was on beginner mode, but oh, believe you me, kids, I'm gonna make it up to you and then some. We're gonna be fighting Nyx on Maniac mode. But first... Oh, hello.
My sister went back home, but she looked very satisfied. I'll be managing this place from now on. I'm pleased to be of service.
Where exactly do they go? I mean, what, back to the Velvet Room, or... I don't know.
My sister seems to be very satisfied. Thank you very much. I'm sure that she must have caused you a great deal of trouble, but please try to forgive her. Still, it seems that the ordeals my sister presented you with have been able to strengthen you. I'd be glad if you could be happy with the changes in you.
Oh, trust me. Yeah, changes as in, holy crap, she just beat the ever-loving bejesus out of me. Oh, right, yeah, before I forget. Speaking of the difficulty, let me see here. Yeah, I actually just remembered that the difficulty setting actually affects the prices in the Velvet Room. So, yeah, yeah, see, yeah, from Maniac to Beginner, the prices are just night and day. Oh boy. Alright, well anyways, before we go and tackle Nyx, let's go and recount the journey we made along the way here. From the weakest persona, all the way up to the tippy top. Starting off, Apsaras. Water spirits in Hindu mythology. They're beautiful young women who dance for the gods. They also guide heroes fallen in battle to paradise. Angel. Ninth of the 9 orders of angels. The watchers who never sleep. Among these are the guardian angels who are assigned to every human at birth. Alp. A succubus of German and Swiss folklore. Originated as beings which forged mystical crafts under the mountains, they later came to be seen as demons that prevented people from sleeping, causing illness. Nekomata. Incarnations of long-lived cats in Japanese mythology. They have various powers including human speech and control over the dead. And our starter persona, Orpheus. A poet of Greek mythology skilled with the lyre. He tried to retrieve his wife Eurydice from Hades, but she vanished when he looked back before reaching the surface. Phornius. One of the Goetia 72 demons. He appears as a great sea monster. He's linguistically skilled and a master of rhetoric. Pixie. In English myth, they are fairies of the forest that love to play tricks on people. They can also be hard workers when necessary. Chimera. The offspring of Typhon and Echidna. This monster of Greek myth is part lion, part goat, and part dragon. Snake, whatever. Inugami. Spirits of dogs said to possess humans in Japanese lore. Those possessed go crazy. All Myoji or Japanese sorcerers summon them to do their will. Archangel. 8th of the 9 orders of angels. Their duty is to minister to humans and deliver messages. They are at constant war with the fallen angels. Valkyrie. Choosers of the slain in Norse mythology. Armed with shining armor and spears, they look for brave warriors to take to Valhalla so that they may fight in Ragnarok. Yomitsu Shikome. A demoness in Japanese mythology that lives in Yomi, the netherworld. She's the first demon Izanami sends after Izanagi. Lilim. Lilith's children. Like their mother, they have sex with men at night. Their legend spread to Greece, where they are known as the Impusa. Aramitama. One of the 4 aspects of the human soul as described in Shinto teachings. It's associated with aggression. Jack Frost. A winter fairy of European descent. Normally an innocent creature, but if provoked, he'll kill his victim by covering him in snow. Tam Lin. A Scottish fairy knight who protected the glen called Canterbury. He was once human, but was captured by the Queen of the Fairies and lived as one of them thereafter. Omoikane. A deity of knowledge in Japanese myth. He conceived a plan to draw Amaterasu from the Amato Iwato, the cave she was hiding in. Unicorn. A legendary white horse with a single spiral horn. It can only be tamed by a pure maiden. Its horn supposedly has miraculous healing capabilities. Slime. A primitive monster with a viscous body. There are various theories as to its origin, but it's still under debate. Said to compulsively collect shiny objects. Beereth. one of the 72 demons of the Goetia. He rides a gigantic horse and burns those without manners. He's the Duke of Hell. Oberon, fairy king and husband to Titania, was cursed as a child and hasn't grown any larger since. Pyrojack, also known as Jack-o'-lantern, he was an Irish farmer who persuaded Satan not to take him to hell. When he was refused entry into heaven, he wandered the earth as a pumpkin-headed soul. Nigimitama, one of the 4 aspects of the human soul is described in Shinto teachings. It's associated with gentleness. Neko Shogun, a prophetic Taoist god originally known as Mao Shogun. Due to a linguistic error involving the Chinese word for cat, his name was changed to Neko Shogun. Mokoi, an evil spirit of Moringan mythology, believed to be reborn shadows. They kidnap and eat children and strike down sorcerers who use black magic. Rakshasa, demon of Hindu myth. He's an enemy of the gods and attacks humans to feed off them. His hideous appearance strikes fear into those who see him. He can shift his shape to deceive his enemies. Sochoten, Varudhaka, a protector of the south, is one of the 4 heavenly kings in Buddhist myth. Ghoul, cannibalistic demon from Islamic lore. It feeds on the flesh of both the living and the dead. It's indistinguishable from normal humans and prefers to prey on children and travelers. Naga, half snake, half human, they're divine beings in Hindu mythology, worshipped as bringers of fertility. Principality, the 7th of the 9 orders of angels. They guard cities and nations and protect various religions. Gur, a demon that takes the shape of a giant bird in Sri Lankan myth. It's thought to be a derivation of Garuda. Fortuna, Roman goddess of luck. Her Greek counterpart is Tyche, or Tyche, I don't know. Originally a goddess of fertility, she later became known as the spinner of the Wheel of Fortune. Ares, the god of war in Greek myth. Other gods despise him for his cruel and violent nature, opposed to Athena, who represents strategic warfare. Narcissus, a young man of Greek myth. He rejected the nymph Echo, who faded to whisper out a curse of despair. Who faded to a whisper out of despair. Cursed by Nemesis, he fell in love with his own reflection and wasted away. Huapo, a tree spirit of Chinese folklore who dwells in trees used for hangings. She's smaller than a human and can't speak, but her voice is said to be as clear as a bird song. Impusa, a vampire of Greek myth, known to serve the goddess Hecate. She appears as a beautiful woman, but her true form is an evil spirit that drains men's energy. They feed on human flesh. High Pixie, the leader of a swarm of pixies. Any pixie in a leadership role or with remarkable power is called by this name. Legion, the spirit who said, "For we are many" in ancient scriptures. The name comes from the Roman military term for an army unit of 3,000 to 6,000 men. Vitala, a type of Preta in Hindu and Buddhist myth. Classified as powerful ghosts, they have varying shapes and forms. They can control the dead and eat humans. Take Minakata. According to Japanese myth, he fought Take Mikazuchi for control of Japan and lost. He's revered as the god of hunting. Titan, the children of Gaia and Uranus in Greek myth. They ruled the land as gods before the Olympians overthrew them. Pale Rider, one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. He rides on a pale horse and is the ruler of Hades, has the power to destroy life. Queen Mab, the fairy queen of Celtic myth, often identified with Titania, Oberon's wife. She would offer mead mixed with her blood to her many consorts. Sarasvati, in Hindu myth, she's the goddess of rivers and patron of speech, writing, learning, and the arts and sciences. Brahma is her husband. Mithra, an ancient Iranian god of contracts. He was also revered as the sun god. At the end of time, he'll descend from the heavens and raise the dead for final judgment. Shisa, a holy spirit said to protect houses from evil and grant them fortune. It looks similar to Shinto guardian dogs, but is actually modeled after a lion. There are many stories about it in Ryukyu myth. Satanta, a brave young man in Celtic myth. After defeating a vicious dog with his bare hands, he took on its role as guardian and gave himself a name meaning Hound of Kulin. Lamia, a serpentine woman of Greek myth. She was the queen of Libya. It has a beautiful woman's torso and the tail of a snake. It feeds on the blood of young men. Take Mikazuchi, the Japanese god of thunder. He carries the divine sword of Totsuga no Tsurugi and is said to be the founder of ancient sumo wrestling. Yamato no Orochi, a giant snake with 8 heads that fell at Susanoo's hands. The sword that came out was the Amane no Murakumo no Tsurugi, also known as the sword of Kusanagi. Fortress, the 2-headed pet dog belonging to the giant Giron in Greek myth. He guarded a herd of red oxen and fought Hercules, or Heracles, whatever. Power. The sixth of the 9 orders of angels. It said that they were the first order to be created. Their duty is to protect human souls from demons. Gembu. One of the Suling celestial creatures in Chinese myth. It represents the direction north, the season of winter, and the element of water. Virtue. The fifth of the 9 orders of angels, also known as the Shining Ones. They work miracles to support those struggling with their faith. Flauros. One of the 72 demons of the Goetia. He appears as a leopard and can see the past and future. He can control fire and burn all his adversaries to ash. Or burn all his adversaries to death. The Nancy. A beautiful fairy of Irish lore that yearns for a human man's love. She drains her lovers' lives in return for granting them artistic inspiration. Sati. Shiva's first consort in Hindu myth. She threw herself into a sacrificial fire in protest of her father's treatment of Shiva. Reborn as Parvati, she was reunited with Shiva. Elagor. One of the 72 demons of the Goetia. He looks like a knight and has the power to see things to come. He also knows much about wars. Loa. A group of deities worshipped in voodoo. They control the forces of nature and influence human activities. Some also have powerful magic used to curse others. Chikokuten. Of Buddhist origin, he's one of the 4 heavenly kings who protects the East. He is also known as Dharathra. Forgive me on some of these names here. Kusimitama. One of the 4 aspects of the human soul is described in Shinto teachings. It's said to bring good luck in the areas of health and medicine. Oimitsunu. The giant of the Izumo no Kuni Fudoki, or the records of Izumo, performed in the Kunibiki, roping in land for the opposing Sila in an effort to expand Izumo. King Frost. The king of snow ruling over an infinite number of Jack Frosts. He has the power to freeze the entire world, but his personality is actually very naive. Ganga. The personification of the Ganges River. Originally from the heavens, she came to earth to clean the souls of the people as a result of the prayers of the Bhagavata. Yatagarasu, a divine creature in Japanese myth. There were 3-legged birds sent by Amaterasu to help humans, and said that they helped Emperor Jinbu claim victory. Hanuman, a hero of Hindu descent. He can transform into anything, fly, and has great strength. He's performed many deeds in the Ramayana. He is depicted as a monkey. Mothman. A cryptid sighted in West Virginia from the 60s to the 80s. Made for the fin-like appendages on the side of his body, said to keenly sense blood so as to track the source and feed on it. Incubus. A male demon of European lore in medieval times. They visit sleeping women and have sexual intercourse with them. The resulting children become witches and wizards. Seryu. One of the Suling celestial creatures in Chinese myth. It represents the direction east, the season of spring, and the element of wood. Ouroboros. One of the 72 demons of the Goetia. He appears as a horse and answers questions of the past, present, and future. He's faithful to his conjurer. Black Frost. A Jack Frost that wished for evil powers. This powerful demon is born when a cute Jack Frost remembers its nature as a demon. Nandi. A holy white bull of Hindu myth on which Shiva rides. He was the protector of herds until that was passed on to Shiva. Nandi is Shiva's chief attendant and disciple. Rajanaga. The king of the Naga, a half-man, half-snake tribe in Hindu myth. The dragon kings Nanda and Takshaka of Buddhist myth fall into this royal category. Samael, a mysterious angel with the name Poison of God. He is often shown as a serpent. Opinions differ on whether he's fallen or not, but either way he's linked with death. Vaski, a giant serpent of Hindu mythology. It said the gods and demons used him to churn the sea of milk. The strain caused him to exhale incredibly potent venom, but Shiva swallowed it. Clotho, one of the 3 Moire sisters in Greek mythology. She spins the threads of fate. Taraka, a female Rakshasa in Hindu myth. In the Ramayana, Rama managed to cut off her arms. Though she became invisible, he was able to slay her. Natataichi, a deity of Chinese mythology, also known as Zhogan Yotan Shuhai. Zongtan Yuan Shuai. He committed suicide to atone for killing a dragon king, but was brought back to life as a lotus. Giramakala, a giant elephant monster of Sri Lankan myth. It's typically portrayed as being ridden by the evil one, Mara. Whoever looks into its evil eye is said to be met with misfortune. Sakimitama, one of the 4 aspects of the human soul as described in Shinto teachings. It's said to bring good luck in fishing and hunting. Chushulin, a legendary hero in Celtic folklore. His name means the Hound of Chulin. and his true name is Satanta. There are many tales of his exciting adventures with his spirit, Gaelbolg. Kurama Tengu. A member of the Tengu race in Japanese myth. The most powerful and popular of all Tengu, they have the power to fend off evil spirits and attract good luck. Rangda. A wicked witch of Balinese lore. She represents evil and is Baram's eternal rival. Even if defeated, she'll come back to life and their battle will have no end. Narashima. The fourth avatar of Vishnu. He took this form to defeat Hiranyakashipu, who can't be killed by human, animal, or deva, and killed his foe at dust since he couldn't die at other times. Thoth, the Egyptian moon god that takes the form of a baboon. He's a measurer of time and gave Isis the power to resurrect Osiris after he was killed by the evil god Seth. Quetzalcoatl, an Aztec deity known as the Feathered Serpent. He created humans by sprinkling blood on the bones of people from a previously created world. Dominion, the fourth of the 9 orders of angels. Their duty is to oversee the other angels. It's said that the success or failure of nations is decided by these angels. Succubus, a female demon of European lore in medieval times. They visit sleeping men and have sexual intercourse with them. The victims don't wake up but may dream of the encounter. Lachesis, one of the 3 Moirae sisters in Greek mythology. She's the appointer, measuring the thread at which determines each person's lifespan. Kumokuten, Virupaksha, a protector of the West, is one of the 4 heavenly kings of Buddhist origin. Titania, fairy queen and wife to Oberon. She is derived from Diana in Roman myth and is immortalized in Shakespeare's play A Midsummer Night's Dream. Okuninushi, a Kunitsu deity of Japanese mythology that governs agriculture and medicine. Said to have built the country of Izumo was Susanoo's daughter, Suserihime. Ose, one of the Goetia 72 demons, known as the President of Hell. He can shift his shape from leopard to human and reveals the truth behind divine mysteries. Mont, the Canaanite god of death. Every year he attempts to kill Baal, the god of fertility, only to see him race from the dead with the help of Baal's sister, Anat. Kingu, the son and second consort to the female dragon Tiamat. He was to be the leader of the gods, but was killed by Marduk. Mankind was created from his blood. Decabria, one of the 72 demons of the Goetia. He comes in the shape of a star and has vast knowledge of herbs and jewels. He can also control birds at will. Hokuto Sekun. According to Chinese myth, Hokuto Sekun, or Wise Man of the North Star, determines the moment that one's born. Parvati. This beautiful goddess of love is one of Shiva's wives in Hindu mythology. She won Shiva's love, overcoming his asceticism. Dionysus, the Greek god of wine and theater. He had 2 births. When his mother died while bearing him, Zeus took the premature infant and let him mature into a proper birth in his thigh. Ubelrus, a Hittite mountain god. He carries the western sky. The gods placed the stone giant Ulikumi on his shoulders to create the world, but he didn't notice the burden. Yaksini, a female demon of Hindu myth. Originally a Dravidian fertility goddess, the spirit of Hinduism changed her perception of her to a demonic figure, usually depicted as a voluptuous nude male, usually depicted as a voluptuous nude female. Kaiwan, a god of Assyrian mythology. He's associated with the planet Saturn. He is usually grouped with another god, Sakut. Hecatoncheires, a giant in Greek mythology, born from Uranus and Gaia. His name means 100-handed. Enlisted by Zeus in the war against the Titans, thanks to his help, the gods were victorious. Nemeros, the general of hell. He keeps watch over other demons. One of the greatest necromancers of hell, he can control souls and corpses. Throne, the third of the 9 orders of angels. It's said that they carry the throne of God, while they're angels of knowledge. Pazuzu, the Babylonian lord of wind and scorching sands. He has a lion's head and claws, arms, eagle-clawed feet, and bird wings and deadly poison. The diseases he spreads can only be cured by magical means. Suzaku, one of the Suling celestial creatures in Chinese myth. It represents the direction south, the season of summer, and the element of fire. Barong, a mystical creature of Balinese lore. It represents good and is Rangda's eternal rival. Even if defeated, it'll be reborn. The result is a never-ending struggle. Jatayu, the king of birds in Hindu myth. In the Ramayana, he fought bravely but lost to Ravana in an attempt to save Sita, Rama's wife and the 7th avatar of Vishnu. Surt, a fire giant in Norse mythology. He rules the fire realm Muspelheim and brandishes a burning sword. At Ragnarok, he'll set the world ablaze. Atropos, one of the 3 Moirae sisters of Greek mythology. She cuts the life threads of those whose time has come. Thor, Norse thunder god and son of Odin. He wears the belt Yard, which doubles his power. Lightning flashes whenever he throws his hammer, Mjolnir. Daisojo, a monk who died while fasting. His spiritual power allows his body to continue to exist without rotting. It said that he will appear before people on the day of salvation. Kikuri Hime, the goddess of life in Shinto myth. She once mediated between Izanagi and Izanami during their confrontation in Yomi, the land of the dead. Anubis, the jackal-headed god of Egyptian myth. He weighs the hearts of the dead to determine their final destination. He's also associated with embalming. Kali, according to Hindu myth, she's a consort of Shiva. Also called the Black One, she's the symbol of destruction. She's usually depicted wearing a chain of human heads. Lakshmi, in Hindu mythology, the goddess of beauty and good fortune. Vishnu's wife and Kama's mother, she's the goddess of love, believed to be born from an ocean of milk. Byakko, one of the two-linked celestial creatures in Chinese myth. It represents the direction west, the season of autumn, and the element of metal. Ganesha, the elephant-headed god in Hindu myth. He was originally created by Parvati to prevent anyone from watching her bathe. Shiva batted his head off, but replaced it with an elephant's head. Alice, a ghost who appears as a young blonde girl. She seems young, but has formidable magic powers. Some say she's the ghost of a poor English girl who died an unfortunate death. Namhana, a demon of Buddhist myth said to drain human life energy. He has dark skin and stands 3 meters tall, but sometimes changes shape to a gourd. Odo once served Rudra, the god of storms. Hariti, a Buddhist goddess also known as Kishimojin. She used to eat others' children, but Buddha changed her ways. She eats pomegranates now and is a goddess of parenting. Chernobog, a cursed god of the darkness in Slavic myth. His name means black god. He is the counterpart of the white god Belobog. Loki, a major Norse deity known as a trickster who clashes with the other gods. Blood brothers with Odin, but was later punished for his role in Baldur's death. Siegfried, the German name of the hero of the epic poem of the Nibelungenlied. The dragon Fafnir's blood made him invincible, but a single leaf on his back resulted in a weak spot. Odin. In Norse myth, he's the father of the gods and the god of wisdom. He rides the 8-legged horse Sleipnir, bearing his spear Gungnir and wearing his ring Draupnir. Bishamonten, also known as Bishamonten, Tamonten, and Varashvada in Buddhist myth. He is the strongest of the heavenly kings. He protects the north and is the god of war. Hellbiker, a motorcyclist whose violent nature turned him into a demon. His anger at himself and the world causes him to lash out so that everyone else will suffer as well. Arabaki, a major deity in Shinto myth. Clay dolls were often sculpted in its image. Since it was worshipped by rebels, the dolls came to be seen as symbols of defiance. Melchizedek, an angel of Gnosticism said to be born from Sophia. In the Bible, he's mentioned as a righteous king. Uriel, one of the 4 major archangels. His name means flame of God, and he knows all the celestial phenomena. He's the first angel Satan met on earth. Lilith, said to have been Adam's first wife, she refused to obey him, leaving Eden to become a demon of the night. All theories of her fall depict her as unfaithful. Norn, goddesses of fate in Norse myth. They live below the roots of Yggdrasil and weave the threads of fate, which even the gods are bound by. Raphael, one of the 4 major archangels. His name means healer. He recites the history of the fallen angels and the creation of Adam and Eve. Trumpeter, angel said to sound the trumpets of the apocalypse. Each trumpet brings more plagues and disasters, turning the earth into a land of death and suffering. Horus, an ancient god of Egypt whose eyes are the sun and the moon, revered by some as the chief god and often depicted as a hawk or a falcon. Yerlinger, a snake with a rainbow body from Munginian lore. He's a fertility deity that controls the weather and resides in a holy pond filled with rainbow-colored water. Garuda, a divine birdman in Hindu myth. He once fought the gods and received immortality in exchange for becoming Vishnu's carrier. Thanatos, the Greek god of death. He's the son of Nyx and the brother of Hypnos. He's depicted as a young man with an inverted torch and a wreath or butterfly in his hands. Seth, the Egyptian god of the desert, chaos, and evil. He murdered his brother Osiris and tried to become chief god, but was castrated by Osiris' son, Horus. Kuryu, Known as the gold or yellow dragon, it reigns over the Suling celestial creatures in Chinese myth. It's located in the center of the four beasts. Skatach, a warrior queen of the land of shadows in Celtic lore. She taught the Irish hero Cuchulainn the art of war and gave him the spirit Gaebog. Satan Taisei. Sun Wukong was supposedly born from a rock. He wreaked havoc and was punished by Buddha, but was eventually saved by a monk named San Sang. Attis, a god of Phrygian descent. That descent. He was Cbiel's son and consort, but castrated himself and died. Cbiel resurrected him as a pine, and came to represent rebirth. Gabriel, one of the four major angels. She's also the only female angel of this rank. Her name comes from the Sumerian word for governor. Abaddon, the destroyer and angel of the bottomless pit, is described in ancient scriptures. He controls locusts and uses them to cause massive destruction to villages. Cybele, a Phrygian goddess of the earth. Attis was her son and consort, but she drove him mad and he castrated himself. Her orgiastic cult spread to Greece. Needhogg, an evil dragon that gnaws at the roots of Yggdrasil, the world tree. It rules over the evil snakes that live there, capable of surviving Ragnarok by feeding on the slain corpses that drip to it. Michael, one of the four major angels. He's at the top of the angel hierarchy, carries a long sword that can cut through anything. His name means, who is like God? Suparna, a legendary bird of Hindu mythology. His name means one with beautiful wings. It can create wind at will by flapping its wings. It can also change its sides freely. Kartikeya, a Hindu god of war, also known as Skananda and Murugan. He rides upon a peacock called Paravani, with a bow and arrow drawn. He commands the army of the gods and defeated the forces of Asura. Baal-Zebul, demon whose name means Lord of the High Place, possibly derived from the Syrian deity Baal. He presides over death and the spirits of the deceased. Many worship him because of his power. Ananta, a serpent with 1,000 heads of Hindu myth. Ananta is Sanskrit for infinite. After resting on him, Vishnu woke up and created the universe. Masakado, Taira no Masakado, hero of the Heian period. He claimed the title of Shinno, new emperor, and rebelled against the government. He was killed, but it was said he became a demigod. Sandalphon, Metatron's twin brother in Judeo-Christian lore. He's the master of heavenly songs, and said that a human would take 500 years to walk the length of his body. Mother Harlot, the fiend known as the Whore of Babylon. Riding a beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, she carries a golden cup of abominations in the filth of her axe. Susanoo, a god of Japanese legend born along with Amaterasu and Tsukuyomi. He was cast out for lewd behavior, but redeemed himself with heroic deeds by slaying Yamato no Orochi. Mara, an eastern demon lord who tended Buddha during his training. He's a master of fear, and his immense power reaches to every part of the globe. His distant offspring includes Mare and Mora. Adavaka, among the 8 Yasho and one of Bishamonten's attendants. Originally a child-eating demon, he was converted by the Buddha and became a protector figure. Vishnu, one of the major gods in Hindu myth. He's the preserver of the universe. It's believed that he will descend to Earth 10 times to maintain the balance of power. Saturnus, the Roman god of agriculture. He is commonly identified with Cronus. In an attempt to prevent his destiny, he ate his children but was overthrown as was fated. Satan, the prince of darkness in Judeo-Christian lore. Known for his role as a snake that tempted Adam and Eve at Eden, and it's also said he was sent by God to test man's piety. Skadi, a giant is called the snowshoe goddess and the embodiment of winter. According to legend, all the gods will return to her at the end of Ragnarok. Beelzebub, demonic lord of the flies whose insect minions carry souls for him to control. Mentioned in the Bible as a leader of evil spirits and thus seen as a powerful demon in Christianity. Shiva, one of the triad of main deities in Hindu myth. He is known as the destroyer, but also related to regeneration. His wife is Parvati. Aliat, the Arabian mother goddess, also known as Alat. The black stone of the Kaaba was thought to be her residence. She and her son Durusra were worshipped there by desert nomads. Ashura, the king of Asuras in Hindu myth. His name is Maha Vairocana, one who shines on all. In Buddhism, he is known as Dainani Nyorai. Chiyu, a Chinese god of war. He is said to have invented many weapons. He and his followers rebelled against the Yellow Emperor Huan Di, but were defeated. Metatron, one of the most important angels in the hierarchy, yet the most mysterious. He is the scribe and advocate of heaven. Hillel, a fallen angel of Judeo-Christian lore whose name signifies morning star, primarily known for defying God, but also worshipped as a bringer of light to mankind. Lucifer, a fallen angel and the lord of demons in Judeo-Christian lore. His pride led him to revolt against God, taking a third of the heavenly host with him. He now waits for a second chance to challenge God. Orpheus Telos. By bonding with many people, Orpheus was once again born from the Sea of the Soul. He has awakened to the power of Cypher, which holds endless possibilities. And lastly, Messiah. Appears before Judgment Day to save the virtuous. He's a universal figure appearing in myth around the world. Many stories involve his death and rebirth. Alright. Alright, well, that's all the personas we were able to get. Alright. Alright, that's it. No more screwing around. Alright. Next time, we're going at it. We're going after Nyx. Alright, let me just, Alright, so till next time, folks. This is David on David's Brain. Stay inside, stay safe, or a mask get vaccinated. Bye-bye.